Tonight on 2020.
Some have learned to live with it.
When people say, what color are you? I say banana and vanilla mixed. Bavella.
I'm his twin brother, Kari.
I think I have a beautiful face.
Some try changing their appearance
America, I'm not stupid.
to look like everyone else. But for others, it's a death sentence. Their limbs cut off for witch doctors to turn into magic potions and charms.
A 7-month-old baby with Albinism is going to be killed.
A story that needs to be told. Of children in hiding, on the run, hunted down.
What were they willing to sell you?
Legs, arms, hair.
And this year, one mother's life-changing journey from despair in Africa to loving arms in America. And now, Elizabeth Vargas and Chris Cuomo.
Good evening. Our groundbreaking story about children born with albinism touched millions of you and generated a flood of concern.
In a culture where beauty can determine everything from who loves you to who hires you, what hope do these children have for a normal life? Tonight you'll see as Juju Chang brings us an amazing new chapter in the lives of people born too light.
My name is Kenyon Flowers. I'm 10 years old and I live in Illinois.
And I'm his twin brother, Kari.
You can just imagine the great surprise that met Kenyon and Kari's birth. They are fraternal twins, born only 25 minutes apart. But Kenyon has albinism, so in many ways, it separates him from his brother by an eternity.
Is it good? Is it what you got?
My family's skin color, probably like chocolate. For me, when people say, what color are you? I say banana and vanilla mixed. Bavella.
Would you ever want to be brown?
I don't know if I look good in brown. I don't really know.
Kenyon says he remembers clearly the first time he noticed the vanilla chocolate difference between him and his family.
I was with my mom when she was carrying me. I saw my arm. Like I was holding on to her.
And what'd you think?
Wow.
A typical response when anyone sees Kenyon with his family for the first time. Because of his albinism, Kenyon's body produces little or no pigment in the skin, eyes, and hair. 2 recessive genes are the culprits, one from each parent. Albinism cuts across the animal kingdom, and in humans is found in every ethnicity in every corner of the world. For the Flowers family, they're constantly reminded that one of them is not quite like the others.
When Kenyon, I think he was maybe 2, we were in a store and he picked up a toy he wanted. I said, no toys. I put it back. There was an older lady shopping, watching me. And then I see security coming. And this lady's like, this black man's trying to take this little white boy outside. The security guy come up, he's like, put the little boy down. I'm like, this is my son. Well, you got proof it's your son. No, that's my wife, there's my other son. You touch me, you leave me alone, or I'm gonna tear this whole store apart.
When people ask questions like, are you really his brother? It makes me feel obnoxious. I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to answer to that. Because I am his brother. Just that I'm lighter and they don't understand it.
I heard people call him albino, a freak, idiot, retard, all kind of names. When I hear those names, I just fight back and say, what happens if you were him?
In spite of their differences, or perhaps because of them, Kenyon and Kari have a unique bond.
Hey! He's awesome, cool, good brother to have, and most of all, he's the best.
Kenyon and I are like as close as glue on paper. Sometimes I think he's the second part of my heart.
At just 10 years old, these boys have already learned about the importance of looks and the shortage of tolerance. Kenyon's albinism does set him apart from most 10-year-olds because he's legally blind.
I kind of wish I could see better. because I can't see people from far away because I think they just disappeared.
Kari has become his brother's keeper because of it.
Usually when he follows me to the park, I have to watch him in the street. And also when he's at school crying, I had to go see what's wrong, and then whoever hurt his feelings, here comes me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Kenyon is the first student with albinism to ever attend his elementary school.
He knows how to spell Lundal now.
To help things along, the school purchased special equipment to help him see the material.
Make sure you indent all of your work, your very first sentence.
He also has an aide by his side the whole day to make sure he absorbs the lesson plan. Altogether, there are 8 specialists who work with Kenyon over the course of a week. But once recess comes around, the divide between the Flowers brothers becomes more dramatic. Kari, the athlete, is outside playing football. Kenyon's vision makes sports tough, so he and his friends have completely different plans. Lunch bunch.
It's a thing where we just talk, and it's like more quieter than there. It's just sometimes where we talk.
It's like
with her.
professional.
We eat lunch together.
Professional with food.
Fun.
What are we going to talk about?
The most popular topic these days, Kenyon's racial identity.
About albinism, have you ever what have you said to them? Like, why are you white instead of black? What have you said to them?
It's because I have albinism. I can tell you about it, but just don't call me white again, because I am not. I'm black. Some people call me pale, which I'm not.
And I know with you, Kenyon, you may look like white, but almost like if you look in a shadow and at your skin, it might almost look like a little bit, almost like a regular person's skin a bit.
He's a regular person now.
Finding acceptance with friends is hard, but there's something else Kenyon finds even more challenging.
Having a love life for me, it's hard. Really hard and harsh. I like girls, they said, I don't like you, I just like you as a friend. Maybe they just think I'm not cute enough, which I am, but they just don't see it. They rather see some guy who's big, gigantic, strong, who plays football, instead of just a kid with albinism and takes taekwondo. It's really heartbreaking.
My name is Deandra Forrest. I'm a professional model and I have albinism.
Deandra is a new face, challenging old beliefs about skin color, ethnicity, and what is considered beautiful.
I like my lips and my eyes, my face in general. I think I have a beautiful face. I'm not a model just because I'm albino. I have the look, the body, and it's just something that I've strived for, that I've always wanted to do, so that's why I do it.
Born in the Bronx 19 years ago, she is one of 4 children and has one younger brother with albinism too. Deandra struggled quietly with the ridicule that came her way.
With anyone, growing up you get teased, but I mean, some people grow out of certain things. You can't grow out of being albino.
The teasing at school became too much, so Deandra's parents sent her to the New York Institute for Special Education for kids who are visually impaired, many with albinism. We went back to school with Deandra, where she's become a celebrity alum.
I'm finding you.
Congratulations.
Melissa Reed was Deandra's beloved first teacher.
She came in, she was very shy and timid and wouldn't speak to anyone and spoke in a whisper. Coming from the public school setting, the children have a tendency to be very mean and cruel.
So you're saying she was shy and timid because she was traumatized?
Absolutely, absolutely.
As her inner turmoil began to disappear, her outer beauty became more apparent. One day, a fashion photographer noticed.
I met him on 34th Street.
You were literally walking up the street?
Yeah.
And he stopped you and said what?
You're beautiful, you should model.
Like any good Cinderella story, that chance encounter transported her from a modest life to a contract with elite. She became the first model with albinism to be signed to a major agency in the U.S.
Elite Models.
What did you see in her test shoots that made you say, you know what, let's sign her, let's take a risk?
I couldn't take my eyes off the pictures.
Calvin Wilson was Deandra's agent at Elite.
Does her albinism pose a challenge in trying to book her?
Has it been a challenge? Yes, but it's a challenge that we welcome.
Hi, I'm Angel Stillman. I live in New Holland, Pennsylvania, and I'm 14 years old.
Angel Stillman has albinism too, but the experience has not been kind to her. Away from the spotlight, she spends most days in her room, with a book, with her most loyal companion, or lost in fantasy to her favorite song. But it's almost always alone.
I probably spend, out of 24 hours, probably 20 hours alone. If you have like one wish or whatever, I would say I'd never be alone.
From as early as she can remember, she was made to feel bad about her condition. So bad that beginning in preschool, Angel transferred in and out of 8 different schools.
After a while, it's got to a point where it was really bad. It almost happened every single day when I got into middle school. Having people pick on you that severely, like try to trip you and make fun of you a lot so that you don't really fit in anywhere, it kind of makes you feel like, why do I even come to school? I should have fought back more, but I should have just been myself, start my own group,
Angel's mother, Paula.
People can't see who she is. They just automatically look at her and put her in a cubbyhole. Sorry. Just seeing her wanting to fit in, wanting to have one friend, and sad to say, my daughter doesn't have a friend. They can see right away she's different. And some people don't give her a chance.
Okay, we're gonna do this for about a half hour.
Ultimately, Paula couldn't stand to see her daughter suffer, so she enrolled Angel in an online program. So her classroom is now her bedroom. Her teacher is a voice piped through speakers.
Here we go. Got 4 questions about Pascal. These are all mathematicians.
And with poor eyesight, she sits in front of her computer for up to 8 hours a day. Angel used to be an A student, not anymore.
I am getting low grades in science and pre-algebra.
Define low grade.
I am passing with a D. I have a D in science and pre-algebra. America, I'm not stupid.
Last summer, Angel began toying with a radical idea to alter her appearance in such a way that she hides her albinism. It's called passing. Her family is still getting used to the idea.
Why do you want to look different?
Because I want to fit in or whatever.
What makes you think that?
What the other kids say and what the other kids do. Like they make up things like I'm like a devil because I have red eyes and white hair, and I touched them and they got a really bad rash. And
the thing you have to realize too is, even me, Grace, Faith, Normal, we still get picked on. I get made fun of all the time. I'm sure Grace getting made. And so it's not just you because like that.
Yeah, but every single day while you walk down the hallway, do people stop, stare, point?
To you, it's the extreme.
Despite her family's protests, Angel decides to go through with her extreme makeover, dyeing her hair, brows, and eyelashes.
Hi.
She's found a beauty salon willing to do the work, and a mini team of beauticians begin the transformation. They've never worked on anyone with albinism before.
You okay? It's gonna be good.
Not long into it, her mother has second thoughts.
See, she even tries to look albino. Doesn't she look albino? She's even got white lips.
Stop.
You got more color than she does.
She does.
She's gonna blend in and be like everybody else. But I guess that's what she wants.
It made it barn more, but it's okay.
Okay.
Almost 4 hours later, Angel says goodbye to the burden of looking different and hello to the new person she has become. on the outside at least. It's arguably the worst place in the world to be born with albinism. Tanzania. The country has one of the largest populations of albinos in the world. But despite being a tourist mecca with a peaceful reputation, this is a country where albinos are being hunted down like animals. A warning, what you're about to see is disturbing. Pictures of the human remains of the victims, killed all because of a superstitious belief that their limbs possess supernatural powers. A renegade group of witch doctors are now using their body parts in potions and spells. Nearly 60 albinos have been killed since 2007. It's a relatively new phenomenon, and the murders have been condemned as a heinous and systematic violation of human rights. We drive deep into northern Tanzania near the border of Rwanda. Our team includes Osoro, our interpreter.
They always hijack minibuses.
And 2 police officers with automatic weapons. Armed highway robbery is common in these parts. We have come in search of a woman named Mariamu. 28-year-old Mariamu is a devout Christian woman, a member of her church choir, who welcomes her visitors with a song.
That is so beautiful.
That night, nearly 2 years ago, earned Mariamu a tragic distinction at the time, as one of only 2 albinos who had survived a brutal attack.
Does she ever experience pain now?
She does.
Tell me about the night that it happened. What does she remember?
On that faithful night last year, I was sleeping with my child in our hut. In the middle of the night, a group of men stormed in and said, "We are going to cut your arm off. And if you scream, we will cut the other arm off." And they started to chop. I was screaming, so they started to do the same with the other. My parents heard, but they could not come in because the intruders locked the door, so they started screaming. And the villagers heard and came to rescue us, and the attackers ran away.
It took 6 full hours just for an ambulance to arrive and take her to a hospital. Her limbs could not be saved. She was also 5 months pregnant. The baby didn't survive the attack. Doctors later donated a set of prosthetic arms, but they were too painful to wear. Mariamu was caught up in an ugly black market business, one where the skin, arms, hair, and legs of albinos are valuable ingredients for witch doctors' potions, which are believed to bring good luck and wealth. The most simple tasks are now impossible for Mariamu. Her parents' new daily ritual, taking care of their grown daughter. They clothe her, feed her, and once she has eaten, they take care of her son.
What's the most difficult part of day-to-day life after the attack?
Sometimes I cry because it is the same thing over and over again. I miss feeling the love of my son because I can't even carry or hug him anymore.
In Tanzania, there are all these superstitions about albinos, that they are ghosts, that they are invisible. What would she say to people who believe this?
I was always hearing these tales. People here believe that albinos do not die, they disappear. So I was always wondering, how am I going to disappear?
And what would you say to somebody who still believes it now?
I don't believe we do disappear. But I can tell you that now we are being hunted down by killers.
Mariamu's attackers were arrested that night. Their blood-stained clothes gave them away. She knew and identified one of them. He was her neighbor. And since her attack, the number of Tanzanian albino funerals is mounting, especially here in Mwanza. It's a rural area rife with poverty. There are only a few hundred medical doctors, versus more than 15,000 traditional healers.
Why does he put the potions there?
Which explains why it's become Tanzania's witch doctor epicenter. So we visited one of the most prominent witch doctors looking for answers.
What do you think of these people who are creating this market for albino bones?
You know, this has nothing to do with me, because I'm a professional witch doctor. It is true that other witch doctors participate in this because of poverty. If you are getting paid a couple of $1,000s to use an albino body part, you agree to do it.
When it comes to getting rich, what is the superstition surrounding albinos? What is the belief?
There was a certain man who is not a witch doctor himself, but he came up with this idea that albino potion can make a person rich. So they started stealing body parts from the graves. When there were no more graves, they sat down and decided that now we're going to hunt live human beings.
It's a gruesome and lucrative black market business. Of the nearly 60 murders in Tanzania, more have taken place here than any other region. The world might not have heard anything about the killings of albinos in Tanzania were it not for the bravery of a Tanzanian journalist, Vicky Ntatemwa of the BBC. Her reporting forced her into hiding, so we cannot disclose the location of this interview.
How did you first learn about albinos being killed in Tanzania?
One reported case reached our office through some villages in a remote area of the lake zone in northwestern Tanzania.
What happened?
They removed the leg of the person.
And that person died?
Yes.
Vicky was up against a formidable part of Tanzanian society. While there are no official statistics, witch doctors in Tanzania are enormously popular. It's even rumored that some of the highest elected officials consult them. Vicky's true identity was discovered in the midst of her investigation, and word spread quickly she was trying to expose them.
What kind of threats did you get?
They would destroy me.
They threatened to kill you?
Yeah.
What made you want to go undercover and risk yourself?
My people are being killed. My brothers and sisters are being hunted down as just like wild animals.
I don't want to just dismiss it as like, oh, these people are barbarians.
You can imagine a 7-month-old baby is being snatched from the mother. And these killers threaten the mother that if you make noise, we will kill your 3 other children one by one until you let us go with your baby with albinism. And this mother holds the other children in the house knowing that the 7-month-old baby with albinism is going to be killed. And these killers go outside and they chop one leg and another and run away and leave this lifeless 7-month-old baby outside. And what other name do you want Juju to be given to Tanzania as far as the killings of people with albinism is concerned? There is no other name. It's barbarism.
In this corner of East Africa, the epicenter of albino killings, a safe haven, an emergency effort by the Tanzanian government sends albino children here to the Mtindo Primary School for safekeeping. The school was already filled to capacity, more than 100 albino students. Everywhere we visited, the classrooms, the dining hall, the dormitories, all overflowing with children.
All beds, they share.
All beds have 2 boys.
Poor doesn't begin to describe the conditions. Shortly into our tour, we ran into this teenage girl caring for a new young arrival, their fragile skin beaten down by the sun.
That looks painful.
Can I give the baby some chapstick? This is for lips. Can you tell her?
Resources like books, paper, pencils, nowhere in sight. Under the same sun, a Canadian nonprofit set up to help Tanzanians with albinism provides the school with some supplies, but the demands are never ending. After we first aired this report last year, the charity received tens of thousands in cash donations. And a tidal wave of compassion in the form of hats, sunscreen, and T-shirts was sent to the Matendo school and others like it. As for Mariamu, she needed so much more.
My future is in darkness. I don't know what I'm going to do to survive in this world.
She'd become an invalid. Her attackers chopped off both her arms. Unable to feed and clothe herself, she couldn't even embrace her young son, much less care for him. She yearned for independence.
I saw your mother feed you, clothe you, bathe you. What is it like to have her have to take care of you?
I can't do anything. I'm a grown woman. I used to be able to rely on myself, and now my mother must tend to my every need.
To make a difference in this one woman's life this past winter, 2020 helped mobilize a group of volunteers, Team Mariamu, to bring her to America. Heading up the team, Vicky Nitatenma, the now former journalist who first bravely exposed her tragedy. It's a bewildering series of firsts for Mariamu. The first time ever on a plane, the first time outside Tanzania, and most dizzying of all, her first time seeing or touching snow.
This is for you.
The goal of the trip? A new shot at life and an appointment with another member of Team Mariamu.
Give you an idea. So we have elbow control, and then we can open and close the hook.
Elliot Weintraub of the Orthotic Prosthetic Center in Virginia.
Thank you very much.
You can't turn the other way on something like that. You've got to say, what can I do here to help?
Elliot and his staff are donating their time to help make Mariamu new arms, a custom set of prosthetic limbs.
Well, I see and hear a lot of things, but this went right to the top.
It's not an easy task.
And then bring the plastic into the model.
She actually has more length on this side than I thought, so that's good.
Double amputees are rarely seen in this country, typically the fallout of war.
This is her left side below the elbow. It's a very good mold.
It's a painstaking process of measuring and readjusting. Precision is a must. Remember, Mariamu was given prostheses before, but they were too painful to wear and didn't work properly. Joyce, a native Tanzanian, became her American nurse and interpreter. Together, they were welcomed into the home of Kitty DeWitt, a member of the National Albinism Organization. She'd raised 2 now adult children with albinism, and she became the unofficial den mother to the team of Good Samaritans. Over the course of 10 days, the group of women became family. In between appointments, Mariamu partied with the local albinism community and lectured educators about her plight, touching the hearts of everyone she met. It's time for Mariamu's final fitting at Elliot's. He's even picked up some Swahili.
See me.
See mama.
See mama. It's close.
Stand up.
Very good.
They've created a basic prosthetic, one with hooks on the end. This model is actually the most functional.
She's asking, are these my real arms or are these the ones you're still
No,
testing?
these are your real arms. These are what you will take home.
If you ever wondered what pure joy looks like, this is it. After 14 months of misery, a life-altering change.
These arms will help me to do things I never thought I could do again. I'm going to be independent.
To help launch her into independence, Mariamu visits the National Rehabilitation Hospital and occupational therapist Rasan Holly, another angel on her team.
Being independent will be the focus of today's treatment.
She has only a few days to master what most people learn over the course of months.
Good. And try to push it all the way up.
Just learning how to put the prosthetics on seems virtually impossible.
Awesome job. All right, so 1 minute, move the box to here. Okay, ready and go.
Her sessions go well beyond the mechanics of her artificial limbs. They test the limits of her stamina.
There you go. Keep on, keep on, keep on. Go ahead, you got it. Good. And put it right in here.
And the depths of her determination.
It's kind of hard. Okay.
She has to relearn how to do everything.
Excellent job. Good.
Using the muscles in the stump of her arms to control the hooks. Even the most simple, everyday tasks. Picking up objects. Using utensils. Opening doors.
Should it be up or down?
Itazame Juno. Up, please.
Where are we going?
And learning again how to feed herself.
Up, up.
It's the sweet taste of independence. The process is grueling, but she never complains, celebrating every new accomplishment. When I stopped by the hospital to visit,
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Look at your English is fantastic.
I am very happy and I'm so grateful for everything.
Look at you. Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Mariamu is eager to show me how self-sufficient she's become.
Thank you so much. That is so gratifying. I can't even tell you. That's fabulous.
The arms don't hurt, but even if I feel pain, I will work through it because I know these arms can help me. I'll get better with practice.
Well, you can give great hugs, so thank you very much. Asante-san.
Asante-sana, thank you very much.
She introduces me to her surrogate family, and they all say she has done more for them than they for her.
I am not an easy forgiving person. I carry a grudge. But after her telling me what she went through in life and she still forgives, that has really touched my heart.
Her host, Kitty, and her daughter both say Mariamu is a radiant inspiration.
I feel like I'm have the privilege to be her mother here while she's in the States. She has a sense of humor that is extraordinary given the trauma that she's endured.
She's clapping with those hands.
She's clapping, yeah.
The next day, with 7 suitcases bulging with presents to help her regain some of what she's lost, Mariamu's miraculous adventure comes to an end.
She's just wondering how come that so many people who don't even know her and they're not even from Tanzania have so much love for her. She feels that she's safe, loved, and cared for. And this is what makes her cry. Hallelujah.
2020 followed a diverse group of people living with albinism. It became clear through their stories that we still live in a world where physical differences matter.
She is a stunner.
In Deandra, a symbol of hope wrapped up in a beautiful package because she is living a model's fantasy.
Known as the world's first albino model.
A career on the rise, like this appearance in Glamour magazine. Deandra embodies the triumph over a disability by embracing her albinism and using the canvas of a beautiful face. In Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Angel is no longer homeschooled. She's back in a real classroom and loving it.
My whole life has changed in this past year. So many things that are so cool.
She says it was only by rejecting her albinism that she's received the most important teenage prize, acceptance.
I came home yesterday and I was all happy. I was like, oh, I didn't want school to end. I never had that feeling for such a long time. I have so many friends there that I felt like I belonged at school.
Kenyon is now in middle school, and it's been a trying year. Still a bit of an outcast, on top of the typical highs and lows of early adolescence. The one thing that remains steady, his twin brother, Kari, is always by his side. Sadly, the attacks in Tanzania continue. The death toll is now 57. 5 people with albinism have been attacked within just a 2-month period, including this 13-year-old girl whose right arm was severed as she lay sleeping with her mother. And what about Mariamu? She became a powerful advocate, spreading awareness at the highest levels on Capitol Hill.
I'm Terry Connolly. I'm so glad
She met with Congressman Gerald Connolly to lobby the U.S. government to take action to prevent the albino killings in East Africa.
I assure you, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that this never happens again.
Less than 3 months later,
Madam Speaker, I rise in strong support of this resolution.
Connolly takes Mariamu's cause to the floor of Congress,
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
introducing legislation as a call to action.
To end these crimes now.
The resolution passed with broad bipartisan support. Back home in Tanzania, a miraculous transformation back to the person she was prior to the attacks.
Mariam didn't come back with the new arms. She has come back with a new spirit, with new zeal. Mariam is ready to face the world. She's a completely new person.
Mariamu enrolled in school to become, of all things, a professional seamstress.
Mariamu is going to be a role model for all persons with albinism. That even when you lose your limbs, you shouldn't give up.
But I remembered the first time I sat down with her. She had one ultimate wish.
What's the most difficult part of day-to-day life after the attack?
I miss feeling the love of my son because I can't even carry or hug him anymore.
And here is mother and son today.
If you'd like to find a way to help these Tanzanian victims, we can point you in the right direction. Just go to our webpage at abcnews.com. That is our program for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Chris Cuomo.
And I'm Elizabeth Vargas. For all of us at 2020 and ABC News, we're in touch, so you be in touch all the time online at abcnews.com. Have a great weekend.